Welcome back to Daily English Lab Podcast, the place where real English happens. If you are new here, I am so glad you found this channel. This is your home for practical, honest, and seriously useful English lessons that go beyond the classroom. We do not teach you English the way a dusty old textbook would. We teach you English the way life actually uses it. And today, we are diving into one of the most important topics I have ever covered on this channel: the difference between natural English and formal English. Now, why does this matter so much? Because millions of English learners around the world are stuck in what I call the textbook trap. They know all the grammar rules. They can write a perfect essay. But the moment someone says gonna, wanna, or it's not a big deal, they are lost. Or worse, they are the ones writing emails to their friends that sound like legal documents. Imagine texting your friend, "I would like to inquire as to whether you are available for dinner this evening." Your friend would think something is wrong with you. That is not how real people talk, and today we are going to fix that. Here is what you are going to learn in this video. First, you will understand what natural English actually is and why it exists. Second, you will discover the key differences between natural and formal English across 5 important areas. Third, you will learn exactly when to use each style so you never sound wrong in any situation. Fourth, we are going to go deep on the most common mistakes learners make when mixing these two styles. And fifth, you will walk away with practical tips and memory tricks you can start using today. And before we go any further, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment right now and tell me, what is your biggest challenge when speaking natural English? Is it the slang, the contractions, the casual grammar? Tell me below. And if you have not already, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss a lesson from Daily English Lab Podcast. Okay, let us go. Let us start from the very beginning. What is natural English, really? Natural English is the way real people talk in real life. It is the language of conversations with friends, messages to family, casual meetings, phone calls, social media, and everyday situations. It is relaxed. It is sometimes grammatically imperfect by textbook
standards, and it is full of contractions, idioms, filler words, and shortened phrases. Formal English, on the other hand, is the language of professional writing, academic papers, official speeches, business letters, and serious presentations. It follows strict grammar rules. It avoids contractions. It uses longer, more complex sentence structures, and it sounds very polished and deliberate. Here is the thing that most learners do not realize. Neither one is better than the other. They are just tools. And just like a carpenter would not use a hammer to paint a wall, you need to know which tool to pick up in which situation. Think about it this way. If you are chatting with a coworker at lunch, you would say, "I'm so tired today. I didn't sleep well." But if you are writing an email to your company's director, you might write, "I would like to inform you that I was unable to attend the morning meeting due to fatigue." Same idea, completely different delivery. Both are correct. The difference is knowing which one fits the moment. And here's the wild part. A lot of learners actually make the opposite mistake. They are too formal in casual situations, and it makes them sound cold,
distant, or even a little strange. They have been trained so hard to speak correctly that they forgot to speak naturally. Does that sound like you? If it does, keep watching, because this lesson is specifically for you. Now let us get into the real differences. We are going to break this down across 5 important areas, and for each one, I am going to give you real examples, a practice moment, and a tip to help it stick. The first area is contractions, and this one is massive. In formal English, you write and say the full form of words. You do not, you cannot, I would, they are, it is. But in natural English, native speakers almost always use contractions. You don't, you can't, I'd, there, it's. Why does this matter? Because if you refuse to use contractions in everyday conversation, you sound robotic. You sound like you are reading from a manual. People can feel the stiffness in your speech, and it creates distance instead of connection. Here is a common mistake. Many learners avoid contractions because they were taught that full forms are more correct. And yes, in an academic essay, do not is preferred over don't. But in a conversation, don't is the natural, warm,
human choice every single time. Let me give you some real-life examples. Instead of saying, I am not sure what you are talking about, say, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Instead of, he does not know the answer, say, he doesn't know the answer. Instead of, we are going to be late, say, we're going to be late. And instead of, it is not a problem, say, it's not a problem. Or even more naturally, no problem. Here is your practice moment. I want you to pause this video right now and say these 3 sentences using contractions. 1. I do not think that is a good idea. 2. She is not coming to the party. 3. They are going to love it. Say them with contractions. Go ahead. Pause it. Come back when you are done. How did that feel? Easier? More natural? That lightness you feel? That is natural English working for you. Here is a memory trick to help you remember this. Think of contractions as the fast lane of English. When you are in a hurry, meaning in a normal conversation, take the fast lane. When you are driving slow, meaning in a formal situation like a job application, take the regular lane. Now let me tell you a quick story. I had a student once, a brilliant woman, very educated, spoke beautiful textbook English, and she could not understand why her American coworkers always seemed a little uncomfortable around her. She came to me confused. We looked at her conversations, and I noticed immediately. She never used a single contraction. Every sentence was stiff and formal. When she said, I cannot attend the meeting, her coworkers heard a coldness that was not there. The moment she switched to, I can't make it, the whole energy changed. People relaxed around her. She relaxed. And her friendships at work completely transformed. That is the power of this one small change. Quick question for you. Do you currently use contractions when you speak English, or do you still avoid them? Let me know in the comments. I am genuinely curious. And speaking of sounding natural, let us talk about something even bigger, vocabulary choices, because this is where most learners trip up the hardest. But here's the trick. It's not about knowing more words. It's about knowing which word to choose. We'll get into that right after this next point. The second area is vocabulary, formal words versus everyday words. Formal English loves big,
sophisticated vocabulary. Words like commence, inquire, assist, obtain, utilize, however, therefore, and subsequently. These are beautiful words. They belong in reports, legal documents, and academic writing. But if you drop them into everyday conversation, people will look at you like you just walked out of a courtroom. Natural English uses simple, direct vocabulary. Instead of commence, you say start. Instead of inquire, you say ask. Instead of assist, you say help. Instead of obtain, you say get. Instead of utilize, you say use. Natural English cuts the fancy language and goes straight to the point. Here is why this matters deeply. When you use overly formal vocabulary in casual conversation, you are actually making it harder for people to connect with you. Connection in English happens when both people feel comfortable. Simple words create comfort. Big words in the wrong context create distance. The most common mistake here is what I call formal word leakage. Learners study so much academic vocabulary, and they should. Vocabulary is important. But then they leak it into casual conversations where it does not belong. They say things like, I need to ascertain the location of the nearest restroom, when all they need to say is, hey, where's the bathroom? Let me give you some real-life comparisons. Formal, I would like to request your assistance with this matter. Natural, can you help me with this? Formal, I am currently experiencing financial difficulties. Natural, I'm a bit short on cash right now. Formal, the presentation was not well received by the committee. Natural, the presentation didn't go over well. Formal, I am unable to comply with your request at this time. Sorry, I can't do that right now. See the difference? Same meaning, completely different vibe. Here is your practice moment. Think of the last formal sentence you used or heard. Now try to rewrite it in natural English. What words would you swap out? What would you cut? What would you shorten? Try it right now in your head, or better yet, write it in the comments below. I would love to see your examples. Here is your memory trick for this one. Think of formal vocabulary as a suit and tie, and natural vocabulary as a t-shirt and jeans. Both are fine. One is for the office, one is for the weekend. Dress your words for the occasion. Here is a funny story to bring this to life. I once helped a student prepare for a job interview, not the interview itself, but the pre-interview small talk. You know, when you walk in, sit down, and the interviewer says,
"So, how was your morning?" And this student, who had prepared so carefully, looked at the interviewer and said, completely seriously, "It was satisfactory. Thank you for your inquiry." The interviewer actually paused for a second. It was such a formal response to such a casual question that it created an awkward moment right at the start. The student was smart, prepared, and qualified, but that one overly formal phrase set the wrong tone. All they needed to say was, "It was great, thanks. The weather outside is beautiful." Simple, warm, natural. So here is a question for you. Which formal words do you find yourself using too often in casual conversation? Comment below, I want to know. Your answer might actually help other people on this channel who have the same habit. The third area is sentence structure, and this is where things get really interesting. Formal English tends to use long, complete, carefully constructed sentences. Subjects, verbs, objects, clauses, everything in its place. Natural English? Not so much. Natural English uses short sentences, sentence fragments, tag questions, and structures that technically break grammar rules but sound completely normal to native speakers. Here is what I mean. In formal English, you might write, "It would be greatly appreciated if you could provide feedback on the proposal at your earliest convenience." In natural English, you would just say, "Let me know what you think, okay?" Same idea. One sentence versus one short sentence with a tag question. Native speakers also use sentence fragments all the time. Someone asks, "Did you eat?" And you reply, "Not yet." That is a fragment. There's no subject, no full verb structure, but it's completely natural and understood. In a formal email, you would never write "not yet." You would write, "I have not yet had the opportunity to do so." But in conversation, "not yet" is perfect. Tag questions are another huge part of natural English. Things like, "It's hot today, isn't it?" Or, "You're coming, right?" Or, "That was amazing, wasn't it?" Tag questions make conversation feel collaborative and friendly. They invite the other person in.
Formal English avoids them. Here is a common mistake. Learners sometimes make their spoken sentences too long and too structured because they are thinking about grammar while they speak. This causes them to pause too much, sound rehearsed, and lose the natural rhythm of conversation. Real English speech is choppy. It is full of short bursts. It breathes. Real-life examples. Instead of, "Could you please repeat that?" just say, "Sorry, what?" Instead of, "I was wondering if perhaps you might be available," say, "Are you free?" Instead of, "The situation is not as problematic as it initially appeared," say, "It's actually not that bad." And instead of, "I find that to be somewhat amusing," just say, "That's pretty funny," or even just laugh. Practice moment. I want you to take this formal sentence and make it natural. Here it is. "I would appreciate it if you could direct me to the location of the coffee shop." How would a native speaker say that? Pause the video and try it. The natural version would be something like, "Hey, do you know where the coffee shop is?" Or even, "Where's the nearest coffee shop?" Short, direct, warm. That is natural English at work. Memory trick. Think of
Formal sentences as long train journeys, planned, structured, lots of stops. Natural sentences are taxi rides, quick, direct, get you there fast. Here is the thing that most people do not know, and this might surprise you. Researchers have found that in everyday English conversation, the average sentence is only about 7 to 10 words long. 7 to 10 words. That is it. So if your spoken sentences are consistently longer than that, you are probably code switching into formal territory without even realizing it. Here's my question for you. When you speak English, do you feel like your sentences are too long? Or do you sometimes struggle to even finish them? Drop your answer in the comments. You would be amazed how many people feel the exact same way. And coming up next, we are going to talk about something that trips up even advanced learners. It's about how formal and natural English handle time differently. The tense choices native speakers make in conversation are going to blow your mind a little. But first, here's the trick. It's simpler than you think. The fourth area is tense usage, and specifically, how natural English uses the present tense in ways that
formal English would never allow. In formal English, tense rules are strict. You use the correct tense for the correct time. Past for past, present for present, future for future. But in natural English, speakers constantly use the present tense to talk about the past, future, and even hypothetical situations, and it sounds completely normal. Here is the most famous example. Someone is telling a story about something that happened last week, and they say, "So I'm walking down the street, right, and this dog just comes out of nowhere and starts barking at me." They are describing a past event using present tense verbs. I'm walking, comes, starts. This is called the historical present, and native speakers use it all the time to make stories feel more vivid and exciting. In formal English, you would write, "I was walking down the street when a dog suddenly emerged and began barking." Both describe the same moment, but the natural version pulls you in and makes you feel like you are there. Natural English also uses the present continuous to talk about future plans. I'm having dinner with my sister on Friday. Technically, that has not happened yet, but I'm having present. Continuous is completely normal for talking about future arrangements. Formal English would say, "I will be having dinner with my sister on Friday," or "I am scheduled to dine with my sister on Friday." Common mistake. Learners sometimes overcorrect into formal tense structures during conversation because they are afraid of making mistakes. They overthink every tense choice and end up sounding stiff. But natural English actually gives you more flexibility, not less. Real-life examples. Instead of, "I will meet you at the cafe at 3 o'clock, say, "I'm meeting you at the cafe at 3. Instead of, "What did you do last night?" A natural storytelling follow-up would be, "So what happens next?" even when talking about past events. Instead of, "Have you consumed your meal?" say, "Have you eaten?" or even just, "Eaten?" Instead of, "I was under the impression that the event would not commence until 7, say, "I thought it didn't start until 7. Practice moment. Here is a short story prompt. Something funny or interesting happened to you recently, real or imagined. I want you to tell that story out loud using present tense verbs, even though it happened in the past. Start with, "Okay, so I'm standing in the kitchen and..." Go ahead, try it. You do not even need to pause the video, just say it under your breath. Feel how alive and energetic the story sounds? That is natural English storytelling. Memory trick. Think of the historical present as a live broadcast mode. When you switch to present tense in a story, you are broadcasting it live in the listener's imagination. Hit the live button and watch your stories come alive. One thing I love about this topic, it completely flips the script on what learners think correct means. You might have been told your whole life that using present tense for past events is wrong, but now you know, in natural English, it is not just acceptable, it is preferred. It is what makes storytelling in English feel exciting and real. Does this tense switching feel strange or natural to you right now? I genuinely want to know. Comment below and tell me, had you heard about the historical present before this video? The fifth and final area is the use of filler words, discourse markers, and hedging. And this is the secret sauce of natural English that almost nobody teaches. Filler words are the little words and phrases
that native speakers use constantly during natural conversation. Things like, I mean, kind of, sort of, like, basically, actually, honestly, to be fair, I guess, right? And you know what I mean? These words do not add literal meaning, but they add rhythm, warmth, and authenticity to natural speech. Formal English has its own version of these, called discourse markers. Things like, furthermore, in addition, however, nevertheless, in conclusion, and to summarize. These belong in essays, presentations, and reports. Here is why this matters. When you speak English without any filler words or discourse markers at all, you sound unnervingly precise. You sound like a machine reading a prepared statement. People unconsciously notice this, and it creates a subtle feeling that something is off, even if they cannot identify what. A little bit of, and kind of, and I mean, actually makes you sound more human and more fluent. The common mistake here is that learners either use 0 filler words, making them sound robotic, or they pick up one filler word and use it so much that it becomes distracting. I once had a student who said,
Basically, every third word. Basically, this. Basically, that. Basically, everything. Balance is the key. Real-life examples. Natural. So, like, I was at the store, right? And I kind of forgot what I needed. You know how that happens. Formal equivalent. On my visit to the retail establishment, I experienced difficulty recalling the items I intended to purchase. Natural. Honestly, I'm not sure. I mean, it could work, I guess. Formal.
I am uncertain. However, there is a possibility it may prove effective. Natural. To be fair, he did try his best. Formal. It must be acknowledged that he made a considerable effort. Hear the difference? The natural versions breathe. They move. They feel like real thinking happening in real time. Practice moment. Try answering this question out loud right now, as naturally as possible, using at least 2 filler words. What do you usually do on weekends? Go ahead. Use like, you know, kind of, whatever feels natural. Do not censor yourself. Real English has texture, and filler words are part of that texture. Memory trick. Think of filler words as punctuation for speech. Written language has commas and periods to create rhythm and
Pauses. Spoken language uses filler words to do the same job. They are not mistakes. They are the punctuation of conversation. Now, let us get into something really important. The 3 most common mistakes people make when trying to switch between natural and formal English. These mistakes are incredibly common, and I want to make sure you never make them again. Mistake number 1 is using formal language in casual text messages and social media. This happens so often. Someone texts their friend, "I was hoping we could arrange a time to discuss the plans for Saturday's gathering." Your friend just wanted to know if you were coming to the party. Just say, "Hey, are we still on for Saturday?" Formal language in casual digital spaces feels cold, stiff, and sometimes even passive-aggressive. When in doubt in a casual text, keep it short, keep it warm, use contractions. Mistake number 2 is using natural language in professional writing. This is the flip side. Some learners go so casual in their work emails that they sound unprofessional. Writing to your manager, "Hey, so I was kinda thinking maybe we could push the deadline a bit, like things got crazy, LOL." No. In a professional email, you need structure, respect, and formal vocabulary. Dear name, I wanted to reach out regarding the upcoming deadline. Due to an increase in workload, I would like to kindly request a brief extension. Please let me know if this is possible. See the difference? Match the medium and the relationship. Mistake number 3 is what I call style switching mid-sentence, starting formal and going casual, or starting casual and going formal. It sounds like this. I was wondering, yeah, so basically I need help. Or, could you, assist me with this formal document? Pick a lane and stay in it for the whole interaction. If the situation is casual, go fully natural. If it is formal, stay fully formal. Tips to avoid all 3. Before you speak or write, ask yourself 2 quick questions. Who am I talking to? And what is the context, professional or personal? Those 2 answers will tell you everything you need to know about which style to use. Make it a habit. It takes about 2 seconds, and it will save you from so many awkward moments. All right, let us bring this all together. Here are your key takeaways from today's lesson. 1. Contractions are your best friend in casual conversation. Use them freely with friends and texts in relaxed meetings. Save the full forms for formal writing. 2. Choose your vocabulary based on the setting. Simple, direct words for everyday conversation. Sophisticated, precise vocabulary for professional and academic contexts. 3. Natural English uses shorter sentences, fragments, and tag questions. Do not be afraid of them. Embrace the choppiness of real conversation. 4. The historical present is a powerful and completely natural way to tell stories. Switching to present tense makes your stories vivid and engaging. 5. Filler words are not mistakes. They are the natural rhythm of spoken English. Use them in moderation to sound more fluent and human. And 6. Always think about your audience and your context before you choose your style. That awareness is what separates advanced English speakers from everyone else. You have just covered more ground in this one video than most people cover in a whole month of English study. That is not an accident. That is what Daily English Lab Podcast is here to do. You showed up today, you stayed with me, and that means you are serious about your English, and that seriously deserves to be celebrated. Before I let you go, I want to leave you with this. Learning English is not about being perfect. It is about being understood, being connected, and being yourself, in whichever style the moment calls for. Formal English will open professional doors for you. Natural English will open human hearts. And when you master both, you become truly fluent. Not just in the language, but in the culture, the connection, and the confidence that comes with it. So here is what I want you to do right now. First, leave a comment below answering this question. Which of the 5 areas we covered today was the most surprising to you? Contractions? Vocabulary? Sentence structure? Tense? Or filler words? Tell me. Second, if this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up. It genuinely helps this channel reach more English learners who need exactly this kind of lesson. And third, subscribe to Daily English Lab Podcast if you have not already. Because next week, we are diving into something that every English learner struggles with, and almost nobody talks about honestly. The difference between British English and American English, and which one you should.
Actually focus on learning first. Trust me, the answer might surprise you. Thank you so much for being here today. Keep practicing, keep showing up, and remember, every single day you practice is a day your English gets better. You are doing better than you think. I will see you in the next lesson. Keep it real, keep it natural. This is Daily English Lab Podcast, and we will talk soon.